One step forward and two steps back, or is it two steps forward and one step back? We're just not sure. We're just not sure.
We're just not sure.
Round and round she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. We just don't know. We just don't know.
We just don't know.
One step forward and two steps back, or is it two steps forward and one step back? We're just not sure. We're just not sure.
We're just not sure.
Round and round she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. We just don't know. We just don't know.
We just don't know.
Hello and welcome to this edition of A Confusing Interview. With me today is Craig, an international expert on the fork. To begin with, Craig, I'd like to know exactly what does a fork look like?
Well, there is no war in Iraq because Congress has not declared war in Iraq. The issue shouldn't be when our troops are going to be pulled out. The only real issue should be when is the president going to be impeached and indicted and put up on treason charges for putting our troops into Iraq.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Perhaps you could expound on what the fork sounds like when it touches a plate.
Well, we don't vote for president in a constitutional republican form of government. We don't vote for the president, we select an elector. The electors in turn select the president, which in turn can vote for whoever they want, regardless of the popular vote, because the states have no jurisdiction in a federal election.
A fork is rather an instrument of smell, evocative of meals. Perhaps you could tell us about one of your favorite smells.
What I did do was prove that the photographs from NASA are faked. But it becomes kind of obvious when you look at all the evidence put together that we really didn't walk on the moon.
The fork is an instrument of taste as well. Perhaps you could tell us about some of your favorite foods and what they taste like.
This country is a republic, not a democracy. The founding fathers were scared to death of this country ever becoming a democracy, so they put safeguards in the Constitution under Article 4, Section 4 to make sure that never happened.
Look, there are all sorts of different kinds of fork. Plastic fork, metal fork, even cushioned forks. What's your favorite kind of fork to hold?
Well, when I was a child, we weren't afraid of the police. In fact, we used to call them peace officers. But it's not like that today. It's like we're living in a police state. That show Cops, you might as well just call it Police Gone Wild.
And you know, finally, Craig, it's not just a fork. It's an archetype. Tell us, if you would, please, about the archetypical fork.
Doctors really have no reason to cure you because then they would lose a customer. So they'll just pump you with a pharmaceutical drug which will mask your symptoms and just make you actually worse.
Are we walking down the road or are we way off track? We're just not sure. We're just not sure. We're just not sure. Do we tie it in a knot or do we tie it in a bow? We just don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know. Are we walking down the road or are we way off track? We're just not sure. We're just not sure. We're just not sure. Do we tie it in a knot or do we tie it in a bow? We just don't know. We just don't know. We just don't know.
What form of government do we have in this country? And why do the people seem to think it's a democracy when it's clearly a republic?
I love the way the fork looks so bright and shiny.
But if the Constitution requires Congress to declare war, why is it that the president does so on his own without authorization from Congress?
Well, you know, it just depends on what you hit with the fork, what sound it's going to make.
Well, I don't know how you can say that, but we don't vote for president of the United States, never have in this country, do we?
Just depends on what kind of food you got on it. Chocolate cake smells like one thing, but potatoes smell like another. Oh, I love the fork.
Doctor, why is it if the U.S. Supreme Court has affirmed our right to travel that we ask for permission from government to drive? Well, if vaccines are considered safe for us, why have they never actually been proven to be safe or effective?
The fork itself is an archetype. You don't need to say anything more.
Round and round she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. We just don't know. We just don't know.
We just don't know.
One step forward and two steps back, or is it two steps forward and one step back? We're just not sure. We're just not sure.
We're just not sure.
Round and round she goes, and where she stops, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody.